What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen, and you're listening to another episode of Sales Funnel Radio. Now, this is part 4 of our 6-part series, and the highlight of today is going to be all about retail funnels, brick and mortar style. Now, this is kind of an interesting category of funnels that we put together because it does go and kind of transcend across a lot of different areas. So the person I'm going to be interviewing today, his name is Joe Giglietti. Joe is I respect him like crazy. Personal friend of mine, and really enjoy just any kind of time I get to spend with him. I always learn from him quite a bit. He has a great story he's going to share with you, and then also he's going to dive through the funnel he uses to get people to show up. So it's not just about leads with the retail world, it's all about walk-ins and getting people to come and actually step into your store, whether it's a restaurant or grocery store or whatever it is. This is not including the professional services category. That category includes, dentists and lawyers and doctors, people who've, there's some kind of specialty involved with it. We call it the professional services. This is not that. This is retail / kind of brick and mortar. So you might think grocery stores, you might think restaurants, you might think, Best Buy, those kinds of places. So with that, we're going to dive right into the episode. And I would grab a piece of paper because I literally filled an entire thing of notes again on just a beautiful concept, amazing things that I know that can transform your business, especially if you're jumping into the retail space. It is a different style funnel than the other funnels, which is why it's its own category. So with that, let's jump right into this episode.
Welcome to Sales Funnel Radio, where you'll learn marketing strategies to grow your online business using today's best internet sales funnels. And now, here's your host, Steve Larsen.
All right. Hey, with me today, I've got a very special guest who is representing the kind of the retail / brick and mortar space in this special 6-part series. And this would be part 4. And what he's going to teach us is how he's been using Facebook ads and funnels to drive his business and help other businesses with their own companies and their successes. I first met this person, I don't even know, it's probably a year ago now, and immediately fell in love with what he believes and what he does. And as we started getting more and more relationship, it became very apparent that he and I actually have very similar views on the world, beliefs on it, what we're here to do, providing value, and it was really kind of a cool thing to bond over. But anyways, with that, I want to welcome you to the show. This is Mr. Joe Giglietti, everyone.
What's up, man? Thank you so much. I'm super stoked to be here on the show with you, and I know there'll be lots of energy because I'm with Steven. You guys don't even know. Before we even got on here, we were screaming at each other through Voxer, like those motivational things Steven does. So it was great.
It's so fun. It's super fun. I don't know how that started, but one day I just started. I was like, this is Russell Brunson. This is my mentor. I can't screw this up. What's up, yeah? And I was like...
do all your other guests call you and go crazy on Voxer too? Or
no, you're definitely the first one to ever do that.
Okay, awesome. I'm proud.
Actually, I think I'll toss it inside if you're cool with it. I'm cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it in the show.
I think it's time to give you a little dose of what you give Russell, I'm told, almost every day. Do you know what today is? Do you know what today is, Stephen? Today is the day that you get to funnel hack. Today is the day that you get to change people's thinking. You get to change people's action. Today is the day you get to change people's focus and thereby change their lives. Today is the day that you get to tell the world how to funnel hack. Are you with me? Shout yes. Yeah, baby! Woo! We get to build some fire! Ah! Let me hear your war cry!
Hey, thanks so much for joining, though. And I want to dive into a little bit more about how I met you, and just for everyone else who's listening on the show, we were building some funnels, and this is back when Russell was taking clients, and we were building. It was for your daughter, it was for Emily, and I just remember talking to Russell after we saw some videos and of you guys doing the stuff, and he's trying to show me, showing about the client, showing what we were going to go do and the funnel we're going to build. And I was like, man, this girl is incredible. And then I immediately had the same thought. I was like, her parents must be incredible for her to be like that. And then it was a few months later, then I actually met you, and I was like, this guy is incredible. And then I actually went to Dan Henry's, and you were speaking, and no joke, I was like, again, this guy is incredible again. And I actually thought you, bar none, were the best speech of the entire thing. And,
wow, thanks, man.
I'm dead serious. And I told Russell that when I came back and everyone else, and I was like, he just crushed it. And you were taking off, and you were telling these amazing stories of things you had been going through at the same time that we were working. I had no idea about any of it. And anyway, so for whatever else you'd like to go into or share or whatever, but do you mind just telling people a little bit about the backstory of how you got into this world, sales funnels, funnel building, and kind of what put you here? Because I know you've been around. I mean, you're certainly a professional. I mean, you went around real estate, right? And you did lots of different things. How'd you end up here?
So I'm an entrepreneur. I did take one job out of college. I lasted 2 months, and I had to go because I told them they had all kinds of things they needed to do, and I was going to fix it for them. And they were averse to change. Surprising, right? A corporation averse to change.
Yeah, that's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think I'm going to go do my own thing. And so I went and started a real estate business and was investing in real estate and really learned marketing there. At first, I didn't even know I was learning marketing, right? It was like, the general public, it's just kind of like, you think about marketing and you're just like, that's a category, right? You're just like, oh yeah, just do some marketing. Like, what does that even mean? I didn't know.
It's so fluffy for a while. Yeah, it's totally fluffy for a while.
So it's like, so we did all kinds of fun stuff then and stuff like that. But I kind of hit rock bottom with the crash of the real estate market back in 2007, 2008, and realized I really wanted to change the world more than anything, more than just make money all the time. So I started this nonprofit student movement. And it was when I was in that nonprofit student movement, I started listening to a show called I Love Marketing. You familiar with that, Steven?
No, I'm not, actually.
Joe Polish and Dean Jackson. That's who I cut my teeth on. Oh, my gosh.
Very familiar with Joe Polish, but not his actual show, though.
Yeah, it was very like that. Yeah, I learned to market on that show, and I started applying it to real estate, which was cool, but it was pretty tough. Like running a nonprofit, I was helping teens, and I was in this really like poverty-stricken area of St. Louis, and just trying to change the world there and do it without money, and had a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Kind of in that process, I learned. For me, I think, you're obviously a part of that whole want to change the world community. And what I learned in that time of kind of financial suffering was, yes, I know I can make an impact on people's lives. I knew how to take a student whose life was probably going to be messed up and help kind of direct their path to really make an impact on their life. And then, so that's impact. And then you think about influence, and you're like, how do you do that with lots of people? Influence is like multiplying that one-to-one thing, right? Almost like from a sales call to a webinar or something, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you go from sales to kind of expanding that to influence. But then the hard lesson I learned is, if I want to change the world, as influence grows, so do the costs. And all those costs were based on my individual ability with real estate and running the nonprofit at the same time.
Interesting.
And I just totally failed. I just totally sucked. And it was rock bottom for me, man, because I was mad at God. I was mad at the world. It was like, I'm trying to do a good thing here.
Sure. And
I'm failing. You know what I'm saying? We had huge influence growth, like all kinds of students being a part of it, but we had to keep shutting it down because we couldn't afford it. And I realized that I can either keep fighting that, or I can realize that whatever this whole money aspect is a part of us doing what we want to do to change the world. And whatever I need to figure out in that process is going to be the key that helps me lose, so that I can multiply my impact, multiply my influence, and then multiply my income to pay for that influence and to pay for that expansion. Kind of like we teach in funnel hacking, right? Where it's like, guess what? You could market forever for free to as many people as you want, as long as you can break even at the front end and continually expand your front end, right? So those kinds of ideas really appealed to me. And so from there, I got connected with you and the ClickFunnels community, I think Russell's first book, .com Secrets, and the rest is history. So, I got to tell this story, though, because it's super fun.
Yeah.
So this stuff is so easy. A 10-year-old can do it.
10-year-old does do it.
Yes. My daughter, in the midst of kind of a broken season where we were giving up on the nonprofit and realizing we had to, move into taking care of my family and not just being homeless or anything like that, which we were 3 times during our process of trying to lead that student movement. We were homeless. And on the final time, I was done. I had spent everything I could emotionally and financially, drained all of our life insurance accounts, everything. There was nothing. And so we decided to move to Florida. And during that process, my daughter wanted to write a book. She wanted to start her own little business, and I was listening to marketing stuff and like everybody else, like listening but not doing, right? Or doing a little bit here and a little bit there, kind of messing with it, spend $20 and then be like, that didn't work. It's like $20 is not a test. You know what I'm saying? $20 is like not even lunch.
Right.
But yeah, I was doing stupid stuff like that. And so my daughter wanted to write a book. And so we just went door to door with it. And at least I knew how to sell. So I was able to teach her how to pitch. And she went door to door. And over the course of like less than 6 months, made $20,000 going door to door.
I mean, that's ridiculous, man. When I heard that, my jaw dropped to the floor. I mean, everyone who's ever heard that, it just goes crazy. It's like, what? We were like, oh my gosh, that's insane. That's a huge. Now, when was this that all this was happening?
So she was 10. So it was right before we moved to Florida, almost 2 years ago. And so it's funny too, because like this is a really interesting point, and it doesn't relate to funnels, but I was trying to change the world, but in that process, I was ignoring my family. And we were sacrificing ourselves for the greater good kind of thing, whatever that means. Mm-hmm. And when I started investing into my kids and into my family, that's when it all really happened. Like, world change starts at an individual level, and then it expands to the family and then out from there. You can't go out first and bring it back in. It doesn't work that way.
Interesting.
And yeah. So anyway, so she starts selling like crazy. And then some people hear about it, and they interview her, and then their show blows up. And all of a sudden, she's got all this stuff that they want to sell. And me and my friend Matt Maddox and Caleb Maddox, I know you know them.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't heard of them, they're awesome too.
Yeah.
And we ended up working together on a thing called Kids for Success, and all kinds of doors started opening up there. And I realized I didn't really love real estate. I loved marketing. Like, that was the whole part of real estate I always did love, was figuring out how to persuade people and get more people to the open house to sell, an investment property or whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and Matt really encouraged me. I'm thankful for that. He's like, dude, you don't love real estate. You love marketing. I'm like, you are so right. And so like my daughter is what got me into it, right? It gave me the freedom where now she's traveling the world and speaking. I needed to do something that wasn't just local. So I was like, cool, I'm going to start marketing, and it's just blown up because I've got focus now.
That door and that whole thing that was happening, that was only a year ago then, really.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, when my daughter was doing her thing, to keep it 100%, because people always they look at me now, right? And they're like, oh, he's got 80 clients in his marketing agency, and he just started in January. Like,
right.
He's crushing it, right? And they're like, they have a different view than if I tell you at Christmas I was broke. And the reason I was broke is I was broke again. It had been a year since I had moved to Florida, but I was broke again because really I was putting everything into my daughter's business, 100% to try and get that off the ground. Right. But I don't want to take anything from my daughter, so it wasn't like I was making some buku bucks or anything like that.
Right.
And so but she was the little seedling that led me to. Man, I love what I do now. I love what I do.
Isn't it cool? It's so cool that you said
yes.
that. It's like, it's addicting. Every day you get to wake up smiling. I was like, there's been several days where it's been, honestly, I probably should have stayed home. I was sick, whatever. I was like, I can't stay away. It becomes an addiction a little bit. It's the other side of it. Most people don't have to worry about loving their job too much or whatever they do too much. It's the other side. They're like, I can't wait for the weekend. And it's like the opposite.
Yeah, no, there are no weekends. It's just like, yes, everything I see, it's like, how can I market that better? That sucks.
Oh, man, this morning I had the same thought in my head. I was like, I could go do this with this. I could do this with this. It's like, here's a whole brand new funnel type. What? It's like, okay, never mind. Okay, go to the office, get to interview Joe.
That's awesome.
That's cool. So at about Christmas time then, you're broke, you're going through this experience, and you dove into that story a little bit as well, pretty deeply, Dan, with the Christmas presents, right?
Yeah. So Christmas Eve day, this is hard. This was very hard to share from the stage. It definitely got everybody's attention, though.
Oh, man,
I was like,
amazing.
Because I'm up there teaching on client acquisition, and I'm like, okay, and this was March maybe? Yeah. I'm like, Christmas Eve day, I was broke. I did not have enough money to buy my kids presents. Literally $20 broke. And I knew Mark. Dude, I had met with you 3 months before, right? Yeah. On Melody's, on Emily's stuff, and it was just to be perfectly honest, it's what happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. We just go in too many directions, man.
Yeah.
We're just going like, it's kind of like what you just said. Oh, I could do this, I could do that. There's all this kind of like untested, and then we're entrepreneurs, so we want to try something really cool.
Yeah.
Instead of like just doing something that will work.
Oh, that's such a disease. It's so true.
Yes. And so that's what I was doing. And I saw something actually that Dan Henry did he was teaching on his webinar on how to get a client fast. He calls it a curious student offer. And I put out that offer. Didn't buy at that time because I couldn't. And so I just did the curious student offer, and it ended up being a guy who was he was traveling to Mexico and was going to wire me the money from Mexico. That's what my hopes and dreams were pinned on Christmas Eve day.
Wow.
To get a client to help with their marketing, who I knew I could help. And, they were actually a real estate investor, so I knew how to do the marketing for them and stuff like that.
Right.
But that's where it was. And so one test, right? That test, it worked, and I was like, okay, like this is what I want to do. I want to have an agency and help other people. It's an easy sale. All I'm selling is money.
That's amazing. So I mean, you're using Facebook ads though.
Yes.
To pull someone in, and then you had a funnel afterwards. I'm sure at the beginning though, did you have that all set up or?
No. Okay,
how did that
so
first guy happen?
Well, the first guy happened, I just put it on my own thing. I did what Dan said. I said, hey, I'm learning a whole bunch of things about Facebook ads, and I can get you a bunch of results. If you'll just pay for the ad spend,
Right.
I'll take care of it for you. And so I had a bunch of people respond, and I called and did, sales calls, like a free consultation type thing.
Right.
And then, I asked them, I told them it'd be $1,500 to set everything up, and then we were going to do a kind of like a pay for results model off of everything that he did, a certain percentage.
Right.
And he was in. Yep. And so it's just that easy. So now, so I think you're asking me about the funnel, aren't you, Steven? You want to get into the nitty gritty now, don't you?
Into the deets, man. Into the deets. Yeah, no, it's super fun because, like, I mean, I had very similar situations like that where it's like, when you were telling that story on stage, I couldn't help but think of all the similarities between what you and I think I've gone through. Where it's like, I was dead broke, wife couldn't eat, it was like intense also. And suddenly this massive realization, similar to what you just said, that when an individual focuses on the marketing, money comes. But if they focus on the money, no money comes. It's all about like focusing in on that marketing and pulling it. And it's, anyway, I just love your story and all the stuff you're getting through. So anyway. I'm not sure like how deep you want me to go into that specific funnel, because I know that a lot of people are listening for retail stuff. But I mean, sure. At
the end of the day, to me, it isn't which funnel you do, right? It isn't whether you do a retail funnel or you do a professional services funnel or you do, a free book funnel. That isn't what's holding people up. What's holding people up, well, first of all, is just fear, right? They're just they're afraid to choose. And I talked a lot about this at AdCon, right? They're afraid to choose.
Right.
They don't know. So that's what I was doing, like going in lots of different directions. And there's so many ways to make money with marketing. I mean, it's almost dumb to say, right? It's just kind of silly to even make that sentence, right? But there's so many ways as an entrepreneur, especially today with the tools available and the accessibility to the know-how with great podcasts like this. It's easy to get distracted into 1,000 different directions.
Totally.
And the first thing you have to do is choose. Like, you have to decide. And the word decide comes from the Latin word incision. Comes the word decision, and decision means to cut off all other options. And that's the first thing you have to do. Like, that changed. When I went to my wife and I said, I want to do this, she said, I'm tired of you jumping around from thing to thing. I want you to choose one, and I want you to make it happen and not to move from it until it's done, until you've done it, until you conquered it. And I was like, okay, I know I love marketing. I know I want to go in on this 100%.
Right.
So then it was like, okay, what in the marketing world do I want to do? And for me, I want a real, that's not the right way to say it, but I want a real business in the sense that, like, a lot of times internet marketing, sometimes it's just like people think 20-year-old sitting on the couch on their laptop and that's the business, right? And if that's your thing, that's cool. I'm not dissing that at all. Like, have fun. But I want to build a business where I've got 50 or 100 employees, and we're doing big things. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
So my thought, like a lot of people, it's kind of cool too. A lot of people want to sell courses, which is awesome. I'll probably sell courses at some point too. I kind of do right now, but that's not my focus. Like, I do that to get clients into my business. Like that's just a lead in to get into my business so that I can actually do the marketing for them.
Right.
And that's, that's what I like to do. So yeah.
How are you, and I love that. I always take notes every time I interview somebody. And I wrote down decide equals incision to cut off all their options. Like that's amazing. I had to do that too. Otherwise, you shoot all over the place. You actually don't get anything done, and you think you are. And you're staying busy, and you confuse action with achievement, and it is like the biggest smoke and mirror game ever.
Yes.
But
yes.
Anyway, so what are you using in retail then? How's the retail world working with funnels?
So there's a couple of things. I help clients, right? So I don't own a retail, place, but I do it for other groups that would be considered retail, which is kind of a weird one to categorize. I'm not sure if you've categorized it for everyone already, but it's a weird one to kind of categorize. It's kind of like the leftover miscellaneous bucket or something like that.
It's just of the 6 categories. It's like, well, because kind of anything can be retail. So anyway. Yeah.
So first thing, I think the first thing that we're kind of seeing in the retail world is kind of the same thing that I've seen in the real estate world, which is the old methodologies of attracting clients still work, and they still work really, really well, because now you can put that same offer out to the world. Even though Facebook, all the spoiled internet marketers are like, man, Facebook's so expensive now, like, because they're used to how it was before. But to all of us who are new to it, we're like, man, this is awesome,
So cheap comparatively, yeah.
Yes. I mean, you think about a place like Walgreens, right? I think of Walgreens when I think of the word retail, right?
Right.
And so when you think about like how does Walgreens get customers, there's a couple things to think about with a retail funnel, and the first thing you think about is like, really, a lot of times we think in terms of leads, right? And one of the things I've learned is, I know, oh man, I'm about to blaspheme. So, close your ears, Steven. But,
do it.
In some way, like in the retail funnel, leads are unimportant.
Yeah.
Right?
You need
because walk-ins. Yes, you need, and the way that's spoken of a lot of times, not only in the retail funnel area, but in some of the more professional services, and there's a lot of crossover, as they talk about it as appointment requests. Right. And so when you think of a place like Walgreens, right, they need to get somebody in the door. Right. And we all know, like every single one of us listening to this knows how Walgreens gets people in the door. There's 2 basic ways. One, they have the pharmacy. Right. Sure. And so they've got that. Right. So they've got some kind of high value offer that a lot of people can't get and kind of got a corner on the market, so to speak, even though CVS is on the other corner.
Right.
And then the other thing, though, and one of the primary ways that they'll use is discounted bread and milk. Right? Everybody needs bread and milk. And so Walgreens always puts out these pamphlets with the discounted things, and it's usually the discounted things, if they're doing a good job, that everybody's going to want. Right? It's not necessarily some obscure thing that they're not sure, right? Although they got a pamphlet, so they can do that. But I mean, like bread and milk at discounted prices gets people in the door, and then once they're in the door, they buy other things. And so in the internet marketing world, right, we call that a crazy discount offer.
Yeah.
And so that works. Like it's always worked. It'll continue to work, right?
Right.
The difference is now you put that offer in front of them, you figure out what they want, right? And there's a lot of ways to figure that out, but you figure out what they want. In most cases, retail establishments already know that, like a restaurant, right? They're a retail establishment.
Sure.
I just moved into a brand new office and super excited about that and ready to hire a bunch of new staff. If you're out there and you want to be hired, come to me. I'm in Florida.
Go to Joe.
Go to Joe. But there's a new pizza place that opened a few doors down. And so basically, like, they wanted help, and I'm doing this for free pizza just because I'm too busy to take on new clients. Yeah. So I did this one for free, and like they will not let me pay for pizza anymore.
Wait a second, that's how they're paying you?
Yeah, I did it. They literally offered me the business, and I rejected it because as I said at EdCon, like I have too many clients, and I need more employees to handle them. So, but I really wanted to help them because they're a new business. So I went in there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I own a marketing company, and they're kind of like wondering if I'm going to sell them. I'm like, don't worry, I'm too busy. I can't handle you. And then, of course, they wanted me, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like what I did for them is, first of all, new opportunity, right? Hello, Expert Secrets. Right. New opportunity. It's a new pizza place in the area. So all I did was I had them, a piece of pizza cost them like, I don't know, 50 cents or 60 cents or something like that.
Right.
And they're called Slices Pizza. So what I did was I said, okay, let's go a 3-mile radius. And let's choose people who are foodies, which means they're going to like trying new food.
Right.
And we're going to say, new pizza place, is now available. We're giving away free pizza, right?
Yeah. Comment
below for a free slice and check out the greatest new pizza place in town, kind of thing. There was more to the copy, obviously. I don't have it in front of me. But The point is free pizza. Like, crazy discount offer.
Yeah.
Gets them in the door, right? Now, here's the thing with those kinds of funnels, though. Notice that I said leads aren't important, because if somebody comments free pizza on that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come in the door.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they're probably not going to come in the door, which is the other reason why I'm saying leads aren't important a lot of times in these retail funnels. What is important, and it sounds like a broken record, Steven, so it's annoying to even say it, but like, I knew this, but my marketing didn't operate as if I knew this, okay?
Okay.
And it's this. It's all like, dude, getting leads is so easy. Like, if you're struggling to get leads, just put a crazy discount offer out there. Like, it's very easy to get leads now, right?
Yeah.
The true game, like, I can't overemphasize this, is in the follow. Like, how do you move a lead and convert a lead to an appointment, to a person who walks in the door? And that is all about the marketing, which we tend not to think about because we talk about lead generation. Don't be a lead generator. Be a business multiplier. And if you're going to be a business multiplier, by the way, the name of my company is Multiply Inc. If you're going to be a business multiplier, you have to convert those leads. And if you expect the business owner to do that, they're not. Like 90% of the time, they're not going to do it.
No.
So it's all about creating that follow-up process and creating a funnel inside of the funnel to move the person from raising their hand saying, I want a free pizza, to actually showing up.
I just 100%. No, I totally get what you're saying, and I back it up to the nth degree, because when I was doing, the way that I got broke into the funnel world was very similar as far as, so I was building lead gen strategies for Paul Mitchell, like local Paul Mitchell stores. And I ran into the same problem, though. I could drive tons of leads, but after a while, they're like, that's kind of cool, but like no one's walked in. And I was like, crap, like I got to change the game, And so we started running ads for these tea tree scalp treatments or whatever. If you'd walk in and you'd say the magic word or whatever, because that meant that they got to pitch you on their $18,000, student package, and you go through a lot of those and actually still break even and have a good business. Anyway, totally, we had to change the funnel. Oh my gosh, no one else I've ever talked to has ever said that. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's huge. Like, even, and I know this is retail, but I help a lot of real estate agents because that's my background.
Right.
And it's like, that's how I started the company. And it's like, my assumption was, and I think many, if you're out there, no matter what business you're in, the assumption is if I get enough leads, I'll close some of those and give very little attention to the conversion process of those. Right. Like, I have people, it's like, I got a lead. I called them. Yeah. And what happened? Oh, I left a message. How long ago was that? A week?
Yeah, they're dead. They're not coming.
Yeah, it's over. And so James Furman, actually, he's great at restaurant funnels. If you guys don't know him, he's amazing at restaurant funnels. He's got 50 or 100 restaurant clients and all these. Anyways, Jeez. He's friends of mine. And he has this whole process, like when people sign up, Messenger is working really well for a lot of retail stuff, right? And so having just a phenomenal follow-up process with a lot of, scarcity and urgency, surprise, right? Yeah. Like, limit it to say it's 7 days, and then you can do a countdown, right? You can say, 5 days left, 3 days left, 2, 1, right? And maybe throw on some other bonuses or other things if they show up on certain days, or whatever you can do to try and incentivize that and take it away. That's why, again, in the real estate world, for me, one house always does better than a list of homes when I'm offering stuff. Why? Because there's scarcity and urgency to one house. It could be gone. But there's no scarcity and urgency with a list of homes because there'll always be a list of homes available, right? And so it just works better, right? But there's one other thing I want to share about retail funnels that I think is really important. If you don't want to do, because some people are like, dude, I don't want to give away the farm, which is just fear. Like, you don't get it if you're thinking that way.
Right.
Apparently Walgreens has figured it out, right? So
right.
We have to. But nevertheless, the other thing that is really huge for any kind of retail style funnel, and I'm not only saying restaurants or things like that, you'd be surprised places you could use this, is events, right? Events. Like,
for retail.
For retail, yeah, absolutely. Like whether it's a chiropractor, which I know that's more professional services, or even a real estate agent, again, that's kind of professional services. Okay. But a restaurant hosting an event, right, could be huge, right? I'm trying to think of other kinds of. Give me an example. Let's play a game, Stephen.
All right, let's do it.
Throw me a business, and I'll talk about how you could use an event funnel to just crush it.
Let's say the ma and pa style of Walmart, right? Let's say some, small version of a grocery store.
Yeah, awesome. So, well, I think businesses kind of do this all the time, but you could do like a 3-day open house style event with prizes given away every hour on the hour and balloons for the kids and clown and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Just stuff like that, right? Yeah. To do some sort of whatever. And just promoting that to the area I would probably couple that, since it's a very small ticket items, right, kind of thing. Although if they buy $200 in groceries, they're doing good. So I would put a discount funnel, right, crazy discount on certain items to get them in the door, along with this whole thing for the kids, if that's your target audience, and some sort of event that's associated with that. It's just events, again, have some sort of scarcity and urgency attached to them, and so it helps, and also it requires them to get in the door. And if they get in the door, now that mom and pop can do a one-to-one sale. But if they don't get them in the door and get them connecting to them or scheduling an appointment, right, you could even do like specific hours, specific offers that are available at specific offers, right? At specific hours. So you could do segmented times to send people to and stuff like that. Okay, at this hour we're doing, we're giving away XYZ, it's 50% off in the meat department,
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And so, again, just scarcity and urgency is huge.
It makes sense, too, because, you see the event game being played like crazy. I'm thinking of all the car commercials. Come in for the Thanksgiving event. And then a little bit later, come in for this Christmas event. A little bit later, come in for New Year's event. Then whatever it is, it's always the event. And it seems like it's going to end right then. But, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like with just so many of the people, it doesn't. Right now, I'm helping a bunch of digital marketers get a bunch of new clients, because obviously I've done okay with that.
Yeah.
And so they want help, right? And they're like that. It's funny because a lot of the marketers need help getting their own clients, because it's a different thing to get a marketing client than it is to help whatever their specific funnel is that they're running.
Right.
So one of the things I've seen, though, just again and again and again, is they depend on leads, right? And this whole thing is not about leads. I help agents, and I'll get them. I have an agent I got 500 leads for.
Wow. In
a matter of 2.5 months. He closed 0 of them. As a matter of fact, he didn't even move them to an appointment.
Really?
How is that even possible, right? Well, it's because they have no follow-up funnel. So with people like that, when I'm realizing, and again, this applies to the entire retail world, but it's if I take that same guy, and instead of doing all these other promotions I'm doing, if I just do an open house and get a bunch of people to an open house, now they're face-to-face.
Right.
They can't skip the call, right? They can't skip the voicemail, and then he never calls again. And so he meets some people one-on-one, and he'll get some deals out of that. Huh. So, again, those straight up, the whole goal for me of retail is to get them face-to-face. If you don't get them face-to-face, you're not really doing the job of the funnel. You may get something out of it, but it's not guaranteed at all.
Yeah, that's really interesting. There was I can't remember who said. Oh, it was Joe Polish. Joe Polish said this too. He said, sales is what happens face to face, but the marketing is how you get them to your face.
Beautiful.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I wish I was that awesome and could get good quotes like that.
I know, right? Yeah. It's like, what can I say is prolific today? No, but and I'm not trying to make a big play for ClickFunnels. However, it is the best software on the planet.
Yes, amen. Preaching to the choir, brother.
Those follow-up funnels, though, are amazing, though. It really is how we get everything done. If we just left everything on the table, even in whatever it is we're doing, whether it's one of Russell's clients or whatever it is, any front-end funnel we do, if that's where we leave it, just like you said, our only expectation is to break even. All that did is open up the gate. If someone took something free, in fact, I just ranted about this to someone the other day. I was like, someone who takes something that's free, like a free plus, or not even a free plus shipping, if it's just some free thing, I don't even consider that a lead per se. That's just somebody who wants something for free, and you got to do something else to qualify them. And anyway, so that's interesting. So in the retail world, so you'll run some kind of ad, obviously talking about the free thing or the event or whatever it is, and then afterwards follow up with what's like the most common follow-up funnel you usually do for a retail space?
You know, a lot of it can be for retail spaces is funny enough. Like we follow up, yes, directly with the person who's interested in the product or service kind of thing that they're coming for, and usually that's going to be text. Like text is working way better. Obviously, a lot of emails not getting opened up. Messenger is great. That's why we're using a lot of, not even necessarily bots, just getting conversations starting in Messenger. May use a bot for the first one, and then when they reply, just get into that engaged conversation to move them to an appointment. That works really well. Obviously the text follow-up using Actionetics. Actionetics, go all in. And then I can't get my affiliate link here. This is Steven's show, but yeah, I can't get it. But in Actionetics, the text, but that's the basics, right? And then of course, like, please tell me, like, so many people are still not retargeting. I remember when, I was like, yeah, I'll get to that, but that's more complex. I just want to blah, blah, blah. Dude, I was such an idiot. Like, when you start retargeting,
really?
Oh my gosh. Can I tell a story about follow-up?
Yeah, please
do. We still have time? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of time.
This is about a realtor, but it'll make sense to everybody. So, like I said, I have some of these agents who are like, they'll get a couple hundred leads and literally like maybe follow up once, right?
Yeah. And
they're doing terrible. So then I've been following this guy. He's got great marketing. I'm going to go ahead and say his name, even though I don't know him personally, Jonathan Zabrowski. And this dude does $900,000 a year in commissions by himself. He has no assistant. He has no team. He does it by himself because he doesn't want to work a lot, he says. He only wants to work 20 hours a week. Jeez. And he does it. Here's the thing. He does it. Because he doesn't want to work a lot, he only allows himself 16 leads per month. 16.
Because he closes that many of them, right?
Well, so what he does is, and this will point to it, right? This dude's like, I'm super impressed with this guy. I can't wait to meet him. But I've been following him for a long time. I know this is true just because I've been following him for so long, or he's really consistent with the story and a really good liar, but I don't think so. And so what he does is when he gets a lead, by the way, he's spending I'm getting leads right now for people like, $1, $2, some, higher end real estate deal, $8, whatever.
Wow.
He doesn't want to get a lot of leads, so he doesn't use any of those sources, and he gets leads and they end up costing him like $500 a piece. And they're no better leads. Like, I know how he gets them. They're no better leads than the normal leads I'm getting for $5. So it's just really funny. But anyways, here's the thing. When he gets a lead come in, he treats it like gold. He calls them, emails them, and texts them 3 times each per day. 9 total contacts per day for 7 days until he gets in touch with them.
Wow.
So I'm listening to this one day, and I'm like, this is nonsense. Like, people will get ticked off, right? I'm so mad at myself that I even thought that. I feel like such an average guy. I feel like a loser for even saying it right now, because I went ahead and said, I'm going to try it, right? So I started trying it with some of my older contacts. People were looking to get in and stuff like that. And I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. And I get my sales team together. I'm like, we're going to follow up. We're going to call them 3 times a day. We're going to text them 3 times a day. And we're going to email them 3 times a day, every lead that comes in. Wow. And they looked at me like, are you an idiot?
Yeah, because the fear is that you're going to tick people off. I totally get that.
Yeah. And it was like, he had mentioned, like, you're probably afraid you're going to scare people, but it's an old, I can't remember his name now. Darren Hardy says if you're very aggressive in your follow-up, you'll lose 1 out of 5, but you'll get the other 4. Ooh. And so I was like, cool. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. What do I have to lose? They're just old leads, right? So I just started following up like crazy, like he said. Now, I could not, full disclosure, I could not keep up. I could not do 9 like I was trying because it's personal. It wasn't automated, right? It's very personal. And so we did it. Follow up, text, voicemail, being really cool about it, not being like, hey, I called you 3 times. No, it's just like super cool. People are busy. Dude, it was almost every time between the 7th and 10th time, people would either call or text back, and the first words out of their mouth were, I'm so sorry I haven't gotten back with you.
Oh, are you serious?
I'm serious.
That's not what you would expect.
No, because like the level of professionalism, right? Nobody does that. And so the fact that you keep bringing it and just keep trying to serve them, and you just do it with the right attitude and bring it in front of them, they feel guilty because they know they asked for they're a lead, right? They requested for you to contact them. We forget that so much, right?
Yeah.
And so just that level of intensity with follow-up. And it was like, I kept counting, like we would go through the text when somebody would finally respond and go through our notes and notations, and it was like 8 times, 10 times, 7 times, 12 times, 6 times, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I am losing so much money because I'm so good at getting leads. I don't value them. But here's this dude. He gets 16 leads a month. Out of 16 leads, he gets 8 appointments. And out of 8 appointments, he gets 4 or 5 transactions.
Every month.
Every month, like clockwork.
That's amazing. 25% close rate from your
leads.
That's actually really high.
Yes.
That's awesome, especially in real estate.
Well, yeah, compare that to, say, getting 100 leads from people and not doing a good job of following up and getting 2 or 3, right? But you still call all 100 of them and still only get, 1 to 3 kind of them closing. Instead, you could just be like, I'll just take a few of them and treat them really, really well and reach out to each of them 9 times, right? And then you need, a tenth the number of leads and can still get the same results.
That's so awesome, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. So are you saying, is there much of a difference that you're seeing when you're running? So you go get the ad, right? The ad starts driving in leads. Mm-hmm. Is because I know that a lot of times in the internet marketing world, selling marketing to marketers, like there's usually a difference in the environment I have to put them in or the funnel in order to go to different price points. Is it the same way with retail? Meaning, can I sell high ticket stuff? I mean, it sounds like that guy is already selling houses, Mm-hmm. Do you use the same strategy though for a $7 pizza? That level of high touch intensity, or is there some other strategy you use for other retail businesses like that?
Well, I guess the answer is yes and no. So again, because my focus isn't on my focus may be on the target audience, right? So like someone that that I'm working with right now, he's got a limo company, right? And so, but they like these corporate high-end clients. And so those clients are obviously way different than somebody who's just trying to get a cheap limo for the prom one night or something like that, right?
Right.
And so there would be a difference in the offer. But again, that's lead generation front end. Like
sure.
you figure out what they want and you put that in front of them and do what you can to remove risk or stack value if they do it. But if you drive that to, like, for example, one thing we're liking to do right now is when someone opts in, the next page, this is a big secret we're really testing out right now. I can't believe I'm sharing this right now.
I can't keep going.
So every single person who goes to a thank you page on all of our funnels, retail and some of the others as well, we're always trying to drive that and give some sort of bonus or added value to get them to schedule an appointment, either on Calendly or even if it's an event, to schedule a specific time to get a private access tour, private this, private that, whatever, like one-on-one access with the owner or whoever the character is who's kind of leading that business kind of thing. But everything, I don't care if it's a limo company, I don't care if it's a restaurant, I don't care what it is. Like, if I can drive them to actually schedule an appointment, that's again, I'm telling you, like, the name of the game is appointments, not leads. And so everything is pushing them. And then, by the way, all the retargeting is pushing them to the appointment, not just to be a lead. Does that make sense? So on that thank you page, we've got different options. And really, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what, like, depends on what they want. But it could be 2 or 3 different things that we think that we're split testing or seeing how many do. Whichever one they click, right, those are all leading them to schedule an appointment. It may be about being at this special event, or it may be about getting this other free bonus, or it may be about having a one-on-one conversation with the owner, but they're all really just trying to get an appointment.
Oh, that's fascinating. What's so interesting to me is how different the sales process is for different industries. Because, again, back to, obviously heavily in the internet marketing world as far as selling marketing to marketers, like if I leave it up to somebody to call, like, schedule an appointment, almost all the time, like let's say like Russell's high-end coaching funnel, First, there's an application funnel. The very last part says, hey, thanks so much for applying. We'll go ahead and give you a call. But if you want to jump ahead of the line, go ahead and give us a call,
Right.
the reason why is because when we used to put scheduling software on that stuff, or we'd send them to Calendly, like no one would ever show up, no one would ever call us, no one ever. And that's interesting that it's kind of different that when it's off the phones and it's in a different industry, that actually works like crazy. That's an interesting difference there.
Well, listen, I'm not. We're perfecting it, right? I mean, that's something that we're pushing. We've seen results, right? Or it's like, okay, why is this working? And
Right.
and trying to drive that in other areas, because I think you're right. I mean, probably 1 to 2 out of 5 of our scheduled appointments don't show. But
the ones that
like,
do are probably rock stars. Like,
well, yeah, well, that, and it's like, it's not like these business owners in retail settings are getting a lot of these anyways. It's not like, oh man, my schedule was booked with 20, I could have had 2 more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if they have 4 or 5 appointments a day and 3 show, they can make a lot of money, right? Just off of those, because you know what I'm saying. So the no-show rate doesn't really bother us. It's more. I mean, obviously you do things like indoctrination sequences and stuff like that, just like you do with webinars, to get them to show up and come with value and stuff like that. But
Interesting.
I mean, just as an example, like for me to get clients, digital marketing. I don't know if I'd be a retail funnel or not, but like I'm helping digital marketers and all kinds of different niches get a bunch of appointments, and it's the same thing. Like it's all about the appointment, and once you get the appointment, you know, your original question was, what if it's high price versus low price and stuff like that? I mean, if you're going to sell one-to-one with a salesperson or get someone in the door, scheduled appointments. It's like, think about it like a chiropractor. You know, they'll do a $21 exam.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Right, to get somebody in the door kind of thing. So that can be a high price. It's low price there, but it's high price later. So, yeah.
Oh, it's fascinating, man. I'm geeking out with you so bad right now. I've got notes
Good.
all over the place. This is so cool. This is so cool. That's awesome. So what, I mean, you've done several different retail areas then. I know you're kind of all over the, like, not many people, like, I really just think that you're such a rare person to be able to go out and become an expert at something that's retail, something that's professional services, something that, you know what I mean? Cross industry like that, that's not an easy thing to do. And so what types of retail businesses, I guess, full spectrum do you actually do for this? Let's say someone wanted to contact you. What are like the full retail suite services that you use? You know what I mean? One of the things that I think is really important to everybody listening is that they focus. And I've already talked about that a little bit, but it's like, and then once you get to a place, then you can start hiring people to handle different options. You can kind of take off focus. So I mean, one of the quote unquote retail areas would be digital marketers, right? Helping other digital marketers who are doing other retail funnels. Like I'm helping them right now. I actually have a wait list of 30 people right now because I got to hire somebody else before I can take on some more. But nevertheless, So digital marketers, you know, I've got some doing limos. I've got a digital marketer who just started. We just broke through his funnel. We're getting appointments. We got him an appointment today with his first $2.50 an ad spend with a roofing company who will pay him probably $2,500 a month. So I mean, those kinds of areas. I mean, you know, gyms, MMA, restaurant. I refer everything that I'd have on restaurant to my friend James Furman. He's the man. I know I'm not supposed to do this, right? I'm a marketer. I'm supposed to promote myself, but like I'm just telling, like there's lots of good guys out there doing some of this retail stuff. So if people are interested in talking to me about any kind of retail stuff or anything like that, I would just recommend they message me on Facebook on my business page at Joe Giglietti. That's sure. Joe and then Giglietti, Giglietti. And if we don't handle it, I will. I've got plenty of friends who are doing. I've got friends who are doing events for bars. That's a big one, by the way. Bars and events, dude. You can get 50 bars, you know, who you can help and just do events, right? Every week, do events. I've actually heard that, yeah, with the bars specifically. That's awesome.
One of my guys is helping Bellator MMA. There's a retail funnel. How's that for a retail event? What is it? You're just selling tickets to an event. They're doing the zoo. I think the LA Zoo he's doing, which is pretty cool. And just stuff like that. So, I mean, funnels work for everything, guys. I know you got this show, but it's like, what do you want to do? Like, you can figure it out. It's fun. So.
Oh, man, that's so cool. That's so cool. Now, you, just two other things here. You recently told a story to me when I was, originally jumped out and said, hey, would you mind jumping on here? About you turning away like 25 people Do you mind sharing that? Because that was amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope, like, you know how it is. I don't want to be like that guy. You know, I don't want to be like a jerk, like I'm the man or something like that.
Sure.
But
no, that's you focusing, though. We'll say that's in the name of focus.
In the name of focus.
So it's okay now.
Cool. Yeah, so I focused, right? And I've got a little soliloquy about that if you guys want it. But I made the commitment on January 1st. I read a book. And wow, amazing, Joe. No, I read actually a page of a book and had to shut it. And it was a book, Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. And it was the area where Peter Thiel, who's a billionaire. Most of you should know who Peter Thiel is. He started PayPal and a couple other billion-dollar companies. Not a bad entrepreneur.
Sure.
And he said, listen, he's like, if you want to be a billionaire, you got to think like a billionaire. And Tim Ferriss said, what do you mean? And he said, well, here's the deal. What I want you to do is I want you to think about your 10-year goals. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, do that with me. Like, let's do the exercise. Think about your 10-year goals. Okay? Maybe it's financial, whatever it is. Hopefully it's financial if you're listening to this. Now, you got it? Peter Thiel looks at Tim Ferriss and says, now ask yourself this question. What would it take for you to do it in 6 months?
Ooh.
And when I read that, Stephen, I literally slammed the book shut in Books A Million. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, dude rocked my world. And of course, all the fear, like all the worry, all the reasons why it couldn't happen just jumped into my heart, you know, and I'm like, no. And there was just fear. And I was like, wait, this dude's a billionaire. Like, don't argue with him.
Right.
Try and listen to what he's saying. So I opened the book back up, and he's like, and then he's talked a little bit more, and he's like, hey, if you're struggling with this idea, then think of a goal you can believe is possible in 6 months, but make yourself stretch, right? And so when I read that, I said to myself, I want to make $100,000 a month. I can do that. I can build a business to get to $100,000 a month in 6 months. And so I started by focusing on real estate agents, and I figured, if I can get 50 real estate agents, I can get there. And I figured, my whole focus shifted to, how do I get a client? And if I can figure out how to get a client, I can repeat that.
Right.
And I realized, I remember something Russell said. He said, you need a KPI, a key performance indicator. So I made my key performance indicator, I need 5 appointments a day. If I get 5 appointments a day, I can sell 1 out of 5. Because 2 won't show. And so that became my key. Then it was like, well, how do I get 5 appointments a day?
Wow.
And so I realized I didn't want to cold call like crazy. Like I'd done that world with real estate, and I was like, I'm going to figure it out. Well, I know it's possible. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And dude, I hope I'm not taking too long, but
I love it.
Yeah. So what I did is I started by spending $20 a day testing out a funnel to get people to an appointment funnel, right? Get people to a page, show them a demo, and try and get them to click. And I had to kind of figure out the offer and all that kind of stuff. And I was spending $20 a day, and I kept stopping it, didn't work, change it, stopping it, didn't work, change it, stopping it, didn't work, change it. And then one day I'm like, why do I wait a whole day to try and figure out the funnel? Why don't I just put $200 on it, and as soon as it spends $20, just turn it off? Because in my mind, for whatever reason, $20 was the magic number to test something. I'm an idiot, I know.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone else listening will agree with that either.
So I was like, so then being the typical entrepreneur that I am, I put it to $200. Said, okay, good. I'll know in a couple hours. I'll just check back on it. And wouldn't you know it, I got busy and forgot, and the kids and blah, blah, blah. And I fell asleep and woke up the next morning. I had like 5 or 6 appointments. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it worked. And I go to my Facebook and I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, I spent $200. And I was like, and I was scared. And I'm like, why am I scared? Like, I got 5, like, this is good, right?
Yeah.
So I went ahead and did the appointments. I think I sold 2 of them or something like that. I'm like, wait a second. Maybe I should spend $200 again. Like, I wonder how many of those other funnels actually worked. I was just too scared to let them run, to really see.
We see that all the time. Someone will come back and be like, I spent $10 and nothing happened. Or they're like, I Facebook Lived 2 times, my first time ever, and no one attended. And you're like, 2 times? I've been doing this for years. You know, it's like, come on.
Right.
Anyway. Yeah.
Right. So anyways, that whole story just leads to, so that then it broke open. I couldn't turn my marketing on. I couldn't keep up with 5 appointments a day.
Yeah.
And I had over 50 clients within my 6 months.
Oh,
I
man.
didn't hit my $100,000 goal a month though, because a lot of my clients are pay on results, and some realtors can take 90, 120 days. And then we also learned some of these realtors aren't so good at closing deals, so we started adjusting and figure out those appointment funnels on the back end to try and get them in front of more, So I'm not there yet. I'm very close. I'm very close now. So I think in the next month or 2 I should hit it. But then I said, yay, I'm free. Like, I focused for 6 months. Like, I promised now, who do I want to help? And I decided I wanted to help digital marketers, because one thing I'm really good at is getting lots of clients for myself. So I'm like, that would be so fun to work with other marketers. They're so cool. Yeah. And so I put an ad on I have a group that I share with a couple friends, and it's called Journey to 7 Figures. And I put not an ad, I just put out there my offer, right? I figured out how to make really good offers. And I put an offer out there, and in 48 hours, in 30, immediately, right? But in 36, how many hours was it? Well, I don't know how soon it was I got out. I can only let my schedule out 3 days, because I found people don't show up if it's more than 3 days in advance. So I only let it scheduled out. And we had 45 scheduled appointments. Like, every single space was booked for 12 hours a day.
Wow.
And so I did 22 one-on-one calls, because I couldn't do it with my sales guy, because I hadn't trained him how to help a digital marketer yet. And so I did 22 sales calls. 20 of them bought immediately, and I shut the doors on something called the 20K Challenge, where I do the marketing for these marketers to get them a bunch of clients, and they only pay me for results, right? And so every time they close a deal, they pay me. And so, and a little bit up front. So in 36 hours, right, because I filled up quickly, I had 20 clients and 25 on the wait list. So I think that's a world record to get with $0 in ad spend, right? So $0 in ad spend in a group of 300 people. I got, so it's all about, making a good offer and figuring out how to get that one funnel working. An appointment funnel can absolutely change your life. So
fascinating. The appointment funnel itself. That's amazing. Yes. So, a last question. I know I keep saying last question, but it's so fun to geek out with you, man. This has been awesome. I've been looking so forward to this. So, you're running a Facebook ad to an appointment page, or what are you saying on this page to try and actually get the appointment?
So, actually, like with this most recent one, it was here's the thing. Oh, man, you're pulling it out of me, man. When you're selling digital marketing or even marketing services to somebody, I think what most people miss is that you're not selling marketing. Too many people sell marketing, and if you look at your newsfeed, too many people are selling quote-unquote Facebook ads or selling quote-unquote funnels. Nobody wants a funnel.
No.
Nobody wants a Facebook ad.
No one knows what it is even.
Yeah, exactly. What they want is money. Yeah. That's what I sell. And when I figured out that I sell money, then it became this, and I learned this from Dean Jackson. And this will help anybody in any kind of world when you think about it. When you ask yourself the question, why wouldn't somebody buy from me? And when I ask that question, like, I sell money. Why wouldn't somebody buy money at a discount? Like, if I came to you and said, hey, Steven, if you give me $1,000, I'll give you $10,000. It's like, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah, you're going to say yes because you believe me, you trust me, I've got the skills to pay the bills and all that stuff.
Right.
But some guy who just saw me for the first time on a Facebook ad is like rolling his eyes, right? And so it's like, why wouldn't they? Because they're afraid. They're afraid that they'll lose. They're afraid that it's too good to be true. And so the same offer changed my business. Man, how am I giving you this stuff? Here we go. I shifted the offer. It's very, anyways, I'm just going to say it. I shifted the offer where I say, look, Steven, how about I make you $10,000, and when I make you $10,000, you give me $1,000. Is that better or worse?
That's amazing.
Right. So the whole idea, and you're seeing this in the digital marketing world, only pay for results kind of thing, it's taken off. Now, that doesn't mean, because all of you are like, oh, you're going to get all these clients who blah, 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 blah. No, you can qualify them. And by the way, I don't get any money, quote unquote, but I do get a deposit where if I hit this number, I get to keep it, right? Mm-hmm. Where I'm 100% certain I'm going to hit that number every time. They're not 100% certain, but I am. But I need to take a deposit, sir or madam, because you could rip me off. You can make the money and then not pay me. So I'm going to go ahead and take a deposit. But here's the contract, blah, 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 blah. What am I doing? I'm giving the same offer. I'm just removing their risk. And if we think more about how to shift our offers, where we can actually, you'll make more by doing it this way because you can charge more on results. But if we can shift our offers to putting all of the risk on ourselves, but to us it's not a risk because we know that we can perform, dude, it's a win-win. So I charge people way more than I could charge them up front, simply because I'm only paying on results for many of my customers. Not all of them, but many.
That's awesome. So, I mean, that's kind of what goes back to what you're saying before is like I mean, similar to the Dan Henry thing, that it's the student, it's the hungry, curious student offer, but extended into an actual, way beyond that first client. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Results first.
Absolutely.
Imagine that still works.
Shocker, right?
Shocker. What?
Yeah, I invented that. I did.
You did.
I'm just kidding.
That's cool. And what that does too is that protects the person's status. I think that's so cool. Goes back to that status protection. How do they gain? How do they lose it? You're protecting it so that they can't lose their own status emotionally. That's fantastic. Huh.
Yeah, and with that, I kind of want to encourage everybody out there. Like, I got a little soliloquy, like when I was thinking about this morning and what I was going through before I've gotten to the place I am. I mean, I'm not bragging here. I'm just telling the honest truth. Like, when I have enough employees, like, I promise you, like, getting 100 new clients a month, I could do it right now. I just can't take care of them.
Right.
So what was stopping me, though, was fear. Like, fear is robbing the world. It's robbing you who are listening. I put out an offer almost every day right now that'll help people grow their business. They don't even have to pay me unless I actually multiply their business. And yet thousands, even tens of thousands of people pass me up on the offer. Why? Why would somebody pass up? Well, they're afraid. They're afraid it's too good to be true. They're afraid it won't work. They're afraid it won't work for them. They're afraid of success. They're afraid of what it will look like if it does work or doesn't work. And that's you. That's me robbing ourselves of our potential. So I was afraid to hire. I was afraid of what big expenses may do to my business, failing to see what great revenues it would bring to my business. Fear. We're afraid to focus. We're afraid to make a decision. Why? Because we're afraid to lose out on another opportunity that we didn't decide upon. But I'm calling upon all of you who are listening today to face your fear. I'm asking you to believe. I'm asking you to believe in the possibility, to believe that your potential is bigger than your present reality. What is it about an impossible offer to refuse that makes it so refusable? What are you afraid of? Whatever it is, I assure you it can be defeated. No matter how large your fear or how substantial your trepidation, I promise you your potential, what you're actually capable of doing when you believe, is vastly more substantial, more significant, and more importantly, more real than the fear that's crippling your full ability. Today, I call on everybody who's listening to this to face your fear. I call on you to shake off your shackles of indecision and step into your calling of possibilities with courage and belief. Because the day you decide, the day you focus, the day you plant your flag in the ground and say, this is my place, I'm going to own my space until I decide not to, the day that you commit and refuse to be governed by the inconsequential whispers of a liar named fear and step into your potential from the confident place of belief is the day you will begin to change your own life and the world.
Everyone go check out facebook.com/Joe Giglietti. I'm just going to end it right there, man.
My pleasure. Nice being on the show. Go get it, guys. Go change the world.
That was fantastic. I don't want to say anything else to mess it up.